Today, we become legends.
Hey, my name's Inter, and welcome back to the channel for some Smite 2 Open Beta 4 data mining. This is a bit of a smaller post. We had a pre-Open Beta 4 data mining that came out a few days ago. We've covered that already in terms of the God model leaks and all that kind of stuff. But this has some more information directly mined from OB4. We got some BARI kit information, some GUAN kit information. It's a bit of a smaller post, but I still thought I would cover it, especially because the BARI kit information is pretty interesting. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right in. There's some new Hasta stuff, not really new though. It's basically just, saying he has all of these things, which of course he was going to have. This immortal and immune to knock-up slows and roots, I believe, is a misprint. That's Kali's ultimate, basically. We'll see it listed further down that this is also listed for Kali's ultimate, so unless maybe they're modeling Hasta's ultimate after Kali's as a base. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, that is basically Kali's ultimate description, so I imagine that's probably not going to be the case for Hasta. Especially because, as we'll see further down, BARI also has an immortality mechanic within her kit, so I highly doubt Hasta releasing right after would also have immortality. But yeah, here we go. Princess BARI, we've got a bunch of new information for her. So it seems like she's going to be a double stance god for her abilities 1, 2, and 3, which is pretty cool in my opinion. She's not going to use mana, but not 100% sure on that. It appears at the moment like she's not going to use mana. Maybe she'll have some kind of other resource, like a Cullen Rage or Yamoja Omi, or maybe it'll just be like Thanatos where she just doesn't even use mana for her abilities. She is going to be a hunter. We kind of already knew that though, because she had ranged physical basic attacks, which basically means she's a hunter. She's going to have a 3 projectile chain attack. The 3 attacks doing the same damage. When the passive spirit is on, the hit area does an explosion with 50% AoE. So yeah, it seems like she has this kind of passive spirit mechanic where it's going to be able to stand switch her into her spirit form, or summon a spirit or something like that, where she gets access to her second stance of 1, 2, 3 abilities. And while that is on, her autos are going to be AoE doing 50% of the damage in an area. So the passive Mystic Surge, she gains spirit while attacking with basic attacks and abilities. It stimulates BARI, providing attack speed, int, and strength, so a little bit of a steroid. And when BARI is in spirit mode, her abilities are switched to stance B. Stance B abilities do extra effects. So yeah, it seems like maybe it's going to be some kind of a gauge. You slowly get more and more attack speed in, and then when you hit a certain threshold, or when you fill up your spirit gauge or whatever, you will transform into this spirit mode or summon a spirit or whatever, and it's going to stance switch you into your stance switch abilities. Maybe it's going to be kind of like Fafnir, where the stance B abilities are more powerful because you only have limited access to them. It kind of depends how frequently you can swap between this spirit form and the non-spirit form. If it happens very frequently, they might just be sort of regular ability power level, and it might be a bit of a King Arthur style thing. But if it happens, only after a few minutes of being able to hit people, maybe it'll be a little bit more like Fafnir, where her stance B spirit abilities will be more powerful than typical. And yeah, it also says drain spirit while active. So yeah, maybe once you fill up your full spirit gauge and you transform into spirit mode, it's going to drain the spirit over time. You'll start losing the strength and int buff, but you'll get access to your more powerful spirit abilities. The ability 1 is pretty interesting. This is Sacred Bell. So it's a circle area ability that damages enemies and deploys a floating bell. The bell can be shot forward, passing through enemies, bouncing off walls during its travel time, and damaging enemies. While in spirit mode, the bell has increased size and damage, and you can spawn multiple bells if the cooldown allows for it. Spirit Bell and normal bell do not share a cooldown, so if you exist in spirit mode, you could spawn when you exit spirit mode, sorry, you could spawn both bells. So yeah, if you're right about to enter spirit mode, you could spawn one of these bells, and then you go into spirit mode. It refreshes your cooldowns because the spirit mode B abilities do not share a cooldown. A little bit like Kabrakan's new 2, I guess, in that regard. And so you could potentially spawn 2 bells at once, and it seems like you're going to be able to push them around the battlefield and kind of manipulate them, almost a little bit like Orianna from League, it seems. So that's pretty interesting. We got some damage numbers. This provides spirit as well. A little bit of VFX here, but obviously this is all very temporary and looks pretty terrible. Ability 2, Warding Gust. This is a cone area ability that damages and knocks back enemies. If it's used while in the bell's area, BARI picks up the bell and can shoot them forward where she aims. And yeah, I assume you can push multiple bells with this. So if you do manage to get 2 out on the field at once or whatever, you can use this ability to push your bells around, which is pretty interesting. I like this, to be honest. It's no longer a charged ability. The knockback distance has been corrected from last time we checked out this data mining. It's now 4 meters, which makes a lot more sense. It was going to be 80 meters or something before, and it's okay, what the fuck? 80 meters is the entire length of a lane. So yeah, 4 meters makes a lot more sense. Ability 3, Reverent Steps, is a multi-directional dash similar to Rama. After the dash, it fires a projectile that passes through enemies and damages them. So it sounds a little bit like Nut in a way, kind of. You dash away and then it fires a projectile. It provides spirit, and while it's spirit mode, the attack is stronger. And Unknown is stealth is still added to this ability. We saw in previous data mining that her 3 might have a stealth mechanic. It may not now. It's unclear if it's going to have that or not. Maybe the spirit mode version has stealth, but the regular mode version doesn't have have stealth or something like that. That's definitely something that could be the case. And it affects your basic attack somehow and adds damage to your basic attack or something like that. So maybe your next auto after doing this, you know, has increased damage or does some kind of additional effect. And finally, the ultimate Spirit's Cadence, a big circular area that slows and damages enemies. It damages up to 3 times to all enemies in the area and then does a final damage that will mesmerize all enemies in the area. It provides immunity to death to BARI and minions in the area. So not her allies, not enemies. It's not going to be like a Scepter Dominion or anything like that. It's only going to affect BARI and minions. Not sure if jungle bosses will count as minions. You know, maybe you can make a Scepter Dominion style objective play where you can make Fire Giant immune with BARI's ultimate and then be ready to secure it or something like that. Maybe. It does just say minions here, but you know, it's possible. It is only early data mining. It's possible this will also apply to jungle bosses or something silly like that. There's some damage numbers here as well. 25% slow, 2 seconds slow duration. Mez is 3 seconds. So not really too much information on this overall. But yeah, it does seem like it's going to be some kind of death immunity thing, which is why I thought maybe Hasta is probably a bug or like a misrepresentation from the data mining that it was saying he was going to be like immortality. It was basically a description of Kali's ultimate, and if BARI is going to have death immunity in her kit, I imagine the next god afterwards probably doesn't also have death immunity. You don't want to put too much of that in the game. But yeah, there's some pretty interesting BARI kit information. So she's got these like bell mechanics. She can push them around with her too. Her ultimate is a big AoE team fight ability. Of course, she's split scaling. She's going to be a hunter. She has a dash with maybe some stealth, fires projectiles and stuff, multi-directional. So yeah, pretty interesting. We still don't have a full grasp of like how her kit is going to work, but you know, that like switching to stance B and stuff like that, getting spirit, all this kind of stuff. We got a decent idea of like how she's going to shake out. They did mention that BARI has changed a lot throughout development though, so it's definitely possible this information will be even less accurate than data mining normally is. To be fair, data mining's normally reasonably accurate, but yeah, they did say BARI has changed a lot throughout development, and obviously aggro was laid off, and I believe Pawn started taking the lead on this god. So it's possible this stuff is like from the aggro era. Maybe Pawn has changed the god a little bit to fit his design a little bit more, because they did say she was kind of like in a bit of an unbalanceable state. She was too overpowered. So they definitely could have made some changes. Maybe these are the changes. Maybe the changes that they're going to be making haven't been data mined yet. We'll have to see. But yeah, we will probably be getting full kit information for her at some point next week or early the week after. Basically, BARI's going to be launching not this Monday coming, 2 weeks after that. I'm not entirely sure when the date is going to be, sometime in March. And they said we get full kit information for her about a week before release, so you can expect probably about a week from now, maybe a little over a week from now, we'll probably start getting BARI kit information. Maybe not this Monday coming, but the Monday after on the Titan Talk, or Wednesday or something, we might get to see BARI's kit. But yeah, she looks interesting, man. She looks interesting. She is a hunter, but it seems like she has a lot of unique stuff going on with her. You know, she's split scaling, she's got these stance switching mechanics, pushing bells around the fight. It seems like she's got a lot of depth and intrigue, which is really cool to see. In terms of the god release schedule, Guan Yu and Merlin have been updated to 95% chances, so it seems like pretty likely that Guan Yu is going to be the next god of the BARI patch, Open Beta 5, and then Merlin is going to be the first god of Open Beta 6, which then makes sense for Arthur to probably be the god of Open Beta 6, the second god of Open Beta 6 as well, doing like a double Arthurian release with these two, because they do have a lot of lore together. Kali has some kit information as well. You know, we saw a model for Kali in the leaks that were up here. I've covered this in a previous data mining post in full detail if you want to check it out, but yeah, we did see Kali's model up here, and it now seems she's getting a little bit of kit information coming through. Obviously, basically nothing other than her hit chain and her ultimate description, but you know, development is clearly being done on Kali, so she'll probably be one of the, you know, next 10 gods or whatever to come. And yeah, this is that description I was talking about. You know, Hasta has this exact description. It's probably, you know, just an issue with the data mining. I highly doubt Hasta will have this exact same mechanic on his ultimate, but maybe they're modeling his ultimate after Kali's. They often do that, where they kind of like like build a base off of an existing ability and then kind of modify it and, you know, test things out on like the framework of an existing ability. Maybe that's what they're doing with Kali's ultimate for Hasta, but yeah, we'll see. But finally, for this data mining, we have some more Guan Yu kit information. So it does appear he is going to be split scaling, which is good in my opinion. I think a bit of in scaling on Guan Yu definitely makes a lot of sense. He's also going to have some attack speed synergy, which is kind of interesting. So his new passive, he gains stacks of fervor when dealing or taking damage. Resolve provides attack speed per stack. Maximum stacks, it provides more attack speed, and you get up to 40% attack speed from this. His one, you heal nearby allies. Healing ally gods reduces your cooldowns, 20% in scaling. So he is going to have in scaling on his heal, which is pretty interesting. Ability 2 is pretty much the same. It has int scaling on the slow, so you could potentially slow for a lot if you're building a ton of int on Guan Yu. Pretty much nothing different with the 2 though. The 3 is interesting. This has strength and int scaling on it, which could be pretty nasty. You know, maybe like book trans builds or whatever. It's going to have probably pretty high scaling because this thing does hit like 10 times. So it's going to be 200% strength, 125% int. Obviously, it's a 3-second ability. You can get stunned out of it or people can jump away or whatever. But still, that's pretty high damage. And every 25% attack speed causes it to damage 1 additional time. So this is what I was talking about with like the attack speed synergy they're trying to add to GUAN, which I think is interesting. So, you know, instead of building more strength and int potentially, you just build a lot of attack speed and keep adding hits to this. You know, if you're building like 100% attack speed and you build somewhere, you get like 4 extra hits on this. It could start hitting pretty hard. The protection steal is also going to scale off of int. So if you want to build a lot of int, you can steal more protections overall. And then finally, the ultimate, you will also swing faster as you gain attack speed now with this, which is pretty interesting. So again, building more attack speed, you know, if you don't necessarily want to build more strength and int for your ultimate to deal more damage, you can build more attack speed and it will deal more damage because you can swing faster. And it will also keep stacking up that damage escalation. You know, it's 2% per hit. If you got a load of attack speed, you could be swinging like an absolute madman, getting that damage escalation up to like 20% by the time the ability ends or whatever. So that's pretty interesting as well. So yeah, basically they're trying to add a little bit of attack speed synergy into GUAN use kit. Will it work? We'll see. It's historically been very ability based. I don't know if this will be enough to make you want to build attack speed on him, but it's kind of interesting. And yeah, it does appear that GUAN Yu is going to be the next god in the BARI update. So BARI's going to launch Open Beta 5, which is in about 2 weeks from now, and then Guan Yu is going to be the next god of that patch about 3 weeks from now, and then we move on to like Merlin, King Arthur, potentially Cerberus, that kind of stuff. But yeah, just a relatively short post of data mining, to be honest. We got a lot of Guan Yu and BARI kit information that I thought was worth talking about. Keep you guys posted on. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you like the look of BARI's kit so far? Do you like the Guan Yu changes? And I'll catch you guys for another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.